What's going on, family? This is episode 72 of the Pharaohs Podcast. I'm your host, Solomon. And as y'all can see, I am here today by myself. I don't know how we about to do this type of situation. I'm here by myself. I'm about to let the people run the podcast today because um yeah, I'm doing this solo dolo today. Solo dolo today. Israel had a last minute thing that he had to do, so y'all got me. Y'all got me. So let me start this thing off right to talk about how my weekend was. I want to say I think Saturday was mostly like a bunch of work. Sunday was chaotic. A bunch of stuff that happened this Sunday. I'm still here in the shy. In the middle of the craziest snow, whatever you want to call, winter storm, winter vortex, solar storm, whatever word or phrase you want to use of what's going on right now. That's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. A bunch of crazy weather, crazy temperatures. It was like negative like 6 degrees outside as the high in Chicago on Friday. And it was a lot. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. Off the top, of course, I have to talk about, the things that has transpired. The Coptic faith has lost, or one of the prophets that I used to look up to, one of my mentors, which is the prophet Silas, has transitioned. And, when it talked about, the prophet Silas and the things that he has done, being a mentor for the youth ministry at Faith Temple Coptic Church, and, him also being able to step into the leadership role and also, guide and continue to teach and demonstrate, his love and all of the teachings that he gave to his people at his church. And so that was just to talk about the sad passing of the prophet Silas, who, like I said, was a mentor of mine, one of the great mentors of Faith Temple Coptic Church, a man of God who believed in prayer, who believed in sacrifice, who believed in, being a good steward for the great I am that I am God. So to just had to report on that because that was he's one of those ones, one of one, that happened this weekend. And like I say, Saturday, it's been cold all weekend long up here in the north. Don't worry, my Atlanta family. I'm coming back, okay? I'm not going to let this winter hold me here because, people trying to get me to stay in Chicago where I'm freezing. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't freezing. But it is freezing temperatures. It's very cold up here. Another thing off the top before I get into any of the topics for sure is yesterday at church, congratulations to the minister, prophet Manasseh, for his elevation to prime minister. Of course, we're going to deep dive and talk about the things that, this is a Coptic podcast. So I have to talk about the things that's going on in the Coptic world, in the Coptic realm, around the nation. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, we got to talk about those things off the top. So other than that, my weekend, was just always busy, always work, looking for, the things that you have to do. Sometimes you got to do the things you need to do so you can do the things that you have to do. And that's life. That's life, period. Um, Speaking of life, period, let's talk about the first topic of the day, family. And the first topic of the day, of course, we got to do what is one of the things that I would love to talk about, and that is perseverance. That is hard work. That is, I want to say, what happens when you actually be rewarded and you be yourself? Derrick Rose. Got to start off with D Rose, man. First of all, Simeon alumni. Okay, shout out Wolverine. You feel what I'm saying? He in Chicago, been playing basketball for a long time. Has got his jersey retired by the Chicago Bulls. That number 1 jersey will not be worn by anybody, he said, unless it's his son. So congratulations to Derrick Rose, because there's a lot of people that's been hating on him. Let's talk about that. People been hating on this man like he ain't do something. Okay, no, he didn't win a champion. He didn't win an NBA championship for the Chicago Bulls, but he has and still is the youngest MVP. Right? Of course, I feel like he could have been, even greater, even more if, he didn't get injured or nothing like that. But at the same time, what we have to at least celebrate the small victories. Okay? And that's what I think this story is really about. Celebrating the small victories. Do you know that you don't always have to be at the finish line to be celebrated, or you have to be number 1 to be celebrated? You just being able to be in the race should be celebrated enough. No, you don't have to have participation trophies. No, I do understand that some people are like, but did he win the championship? No, but he won an MVP. Let's start there. He did win something. And a lot of people need to understand that part of success too. Every little small step should be celebrated. Don't think because you didn't win $100 million, but you won $1 million, that there's nothing to celebrate. Don't think because, oh, well, you didn't get a chance to buy the house, but you got an apartment, you know what I'm saying, instead, that you didn't accomplish your own living situation. Small things in your life should be celebrated. Small things in your life should be celebrated, and it should be acknowledged. And don't sell yourself short for anything or anybody. Okay? So definitely had to talk about Derrick Rose. Definitely had to talk about him having his jersey retired, because I think he was the last person to have their jersey retired was what, Michael Jordan? So yeah. Yeah. So people got to understand like that, what it meant for the city of Chicago. Like I say, like his journey is more for the ones who are trying to make it out, right? So he comes from Inglewood. He comes from the south side of Chicago, where a lot of people, they write off a lot of people that come from the south side of Chicago, or any hood in the south side of Chicago or the west side of Chicago, right? But guess what? You can't write off somebody that has God-given talent, who has a mindset that they are the best, who has a mindset that they are great, who God has for them, God is working with them. You feel me? I feel like when people try to write you off because they don't see your vision, that's okay, because it ain't their vision. It's your vision. You feel what I'm saying? It's your vision. So, and God has his own plan for everybody. So if it don't look like it's what somebody else's thing is, don't worry about that, because your goal is to worry about you. So like I say, Derrick Rose, youngest MVP. Very proud of him. Definitely proud of him. Like I say, coming from Simeon High School, the high school that I graduated from in Chicago. I'm very excited to give him his flowers. Now that he is retired from NBA, he does that too. He sells flowers. He's very like almost philosophy, or like a philosopher. Like he put a lot of thought and energy into what he says and does outside of basketball. And I respect that. You got to respect that type of stuff. I honor people and I respect men who stand up for something, who believe in something, who believe in themselves. You know, I really just am excited to even witness this. He gives me even more boost to continue to do what I do with my book writing and my publishing and even doing this podcast. So shout out. All right. So next on the docket tonight, the next subject, family. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is starting to get a little out of hand with these ICE agents, okay? These ICE agents are going berserk, and somebody needs to talk about this, because this ain't the regular situation. First of all, I was thinking about how we are literally witnessing people being forced out of our country. Like forced out. And we're not really saying too much about it as a people. I mean, there's so many different perspectives of it. Let's think about it. First of all, there are Black people who saying they don't want to get involved because of how Black people are treated in this country. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, y'all, family. There's people who saying that they don't care about this ICE stuff because it's not affecting Black people, because Black people have been mistreated for hundreds of years in this country. Now, as a government official, what can you say about Black people and their stance on how ICE agents are treating other individuals? Because I don't disagree. I don't disagree that Black people are saying, oh, okay, they're not really paying attention to this situation. But we got to report it anyway, because guess what? We need to document when all hell breaks loose, if it does, when it comes to these ICE agents and all of the things that they have been doing. And matter of fact, when it comes to these ICE agents, we got to watch them anyway, because if they stopping people and they're trying to ask for identification and stuff, like, we got to start treating them like the police and start, Oh man, I just thought about this. How the similarities of how the ICE agents and the police are. So it's like the police be always antagonizing, harassing the citizens and the black people of the country. And then you got the ICE agents that's deporting all of the Latinas or so-called Hispanics of the country. And it's like, dang, that just really hit me, family, of how that can coincide with each other. ICE agents on the deportation, and then the police officers is on the black community, and how they continuously are locking people up. That just hit me right there. But let's get to the story of the ICE agent shooting. A federal officer had taken a gun away from a Minneapolis man prior to the Border Patrol agent fatally shooting him that day. The man was or has been identified as Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old whose sources say worked as an ICU nurse. Police say he's believed to have been a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. That's crazy. So he had his paperwork together, but they still shot him. That's crazy. A Minnesota judge granted a temporary restraining order blocking federal agencies from destroying evidence from the incident. Minnesota authorities have sued the Trump administration, claiming its officials took from the scene of the shooting and prevented state officials from inspecting. That is such a red flag, family. Why is the Trump administration get involved and then they're taking away the evidence? That don't seem like a crazy thing to y'all. That don't seem like that ain't raising no red flags. Like, wait a minute now, hold on. So now they're suing the Trump administration because they like, y'all taking evidence. Why y'all taking evidence? That screams guilty already. I know we in a country that they always say innocent until proven guilty. Y'all know that stuff don't even work for black people for real. We guilty until proven innocent. Mostly. That due process have went out the window years ago, right? So like now y'all telling me that there was a shooting by a federal officer on a civilian and the evidence is now being taken away by those federal people. I just want y'all to let that sit in, family, and y'all think about that. This is crazy. We're living in such a crazy time that we don't even know if it's okay to be outside. No gun, you get shot. With a gun, you get shot. You got the police, POLICE, then you got ICE. You got two different branches, the federal and local family that is what we doing here, man? What are we doing as citizens of the United States for us to stop all of this shenanigans, all of the issues, all of the problems, all of the disrespect that we constantly have every single year? This is 2026. And you already told me that black people shouldn't be celebrated for real because they didn't win a championship. Then now you're telling me even people who are unarmed or even armed with paperwork should also be unalive because you're a federal agent? Nah. And then you got the cover-ups going on. Conspiracy is crazy. They like to say that we are conspiring and having conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but we're just reporting the facts of what is really going on. I don't know, family. A little bit more of that story is anti-ICE protesters were already marching in Minnesota despite the frigid temperatures. So this happened over the weekend. And authorities used tear gas and bangs to disperse an angry crowd confronting agents after the shooting. I mean, of course they're gonna do all that after, bro. After you done already admitted that they shouldn't have died, or they shouldn't this, or they shouldn't that, right? After the report came out that y'all did some illegal activity, what you think was gonna happen? You think it? Let me tell y'all something. There's a lot of people who are not afraid of the U.S. government. Okay? There's a lot of people who are not afraid of what's going on, and they'll fight for their freedom. Is there a lot of people? No. Not as it used to be back in those civil rights times with the civil rights activists. You know, last week was Martin Luther King Day. We didn't touch on that because we had a guest, but these are the things that I feel like we need to bring back, right? So they even tried to bring back like a fake Black Panther Party. Now, I don't know if y'all saw that, family, that was circling in the news about a Black Panther Party. Do people remember what the Black Panther Party was trying to do? The Black Panther Party came together to take care of the community, the women and the children, against the violence and the craziness of this country. Gangs. Some of the gangs were created, you know, to fight against the injustices of the police, the injustices of some of these city lawmakers. I think we need to get back to that. Having a purpose and having a voice to say, we're not going to stand for no more disrespect. We're going to protect what is ours. We're going to protect, this is our block, our city that we have grown up in, and we pay taxes and we pay our rent, our mortgage, or whatever. And we want to have a more peaceful living environment. We don't want it to be a hood. We don't want it to be a project. We want it to be a nice living area. A lot of people don't want all of that, the struggle. And I think that's respectful. I think that's so respectful for us to not want the struggle. I think that's respectful for us to not want the bad things. I think it's respectful for us not want negativity. I think positivity, I think success, I think growth, I think prosperity is something that everybody should want in their life, and they should not have to die to get it. In the Lord's Prayer, they say, as it is in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Things down here should be as it is in heaven. Like, we should be able to bring certain things to us in a more natural state of mind. You talking about spirituality, and you talking about all of these attributes and points, right? We should strive for better and not be afraid that there's somebody who's going to take us down because of it. Even though that it's in history, it's been like that. It's been planned. Like, think about it like this. Like, I think about it like this. So, of course, they talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the bombing of Black Wall Street. The reason why they haven't built another Wall Street, Black Wall Street, is because they don't want the United States to bomb them again. Now, think about it like that. We know who did it to us. We know we have physical evidence of Black excellence. But the reason why we don't want to replicate the Black excellence is because we are afraid that the government will take it down again. Why are we that afraid of the government? Shouldn't the government be afraid of the people? I be asking questions, family. Why would I be upset, or why won't I take a leap of faith and a chance because I'm afraid of what supposedly the country that's supposed to love me back and I'm a citizen of, supposedly they're going to do something else to take something else from me after I build it up again. Well, shouldn't I take to the U.S. government? Shouldn't I sue them? Shouldn't I fight back in some type of way for them to treat me like this? Think this okay for you to, if I wanted to build up another Black Wall Street? I don't know. These are just questions I ask. So, family, I'm just thinking to myself of how incredible it is for us to continue to report on these type of situations, which is, we got to watch these ICE agents for sure. We ain't watching nobody else. Let's watch these ICE agents because they out here tweaking. You're already going from town to town and place to place, searching people, making sure they're legal immigrants and all this other stuff. And then now you're harming them. You're unaliving them. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So, family, let's get to the next topic because, before we get to the next topic, okay, so check me out. I was talking about basketball at first when I was talking about Derrick Rose, right? But we just found out who is going to be in the Super Bowl football. And it's the Patriots and the Seahawks, right? Got this word C up in it, right? Seahawks, right? So what's been funny and what has been something that has been on people's minds is this cold weather and how it's extreme and how the theory has came out, family. This is funny. I've been wanting to talk about this because I'm like, dang, how many times we gonna talk about this all on the internet? I mean, it's post after post, status after status, reel after reel, video after video of of theories about why it's so cold. Now, family, I know we talked about this a while ago about a weather machine. And if you Google HAARP, HAARP, okay, it's the HAARP machine, which is so-called the weather machine that actually controls or affects the weather in its own type of particles, where you can kind of make it rain and snow and things like that. Now, a lot of people don't believe in these type of conspiracies or thoughts because they just don't think that way. But I always tell people, if you can make it rain and you can make it foggy on a movie set in Hollywood with the small machines that they have, how come you can't do that in the real world or outside? Does it have to always be a studio? I mean, these is questions, family, that I just ask people because I want people to be like, dang, I never thought about that. Yeah, you have not. You have not thought about that. But I'm going to, of course, break this thing on down, okay? And let's talk about, they said that Leviathan, is that how you say it? The sea creature is what they're trying to freeze It's super cold. So this is a map at the end of South America. Okay. You see Argentina, Chile, you see all of these countries and stuff. If you continue to go downward towards where Antarctica is, yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that. It looks like the face or head of a dragon or some type of sea serpent. Okay, that's why I mentioned before the football of the Patriots, which is the American people, versus the Seahawks, which is supposedly you got the word sea in it. It's an animal that's close to the water or whatnot. So now they talking about, because it's been cold, they've been messing with the weather machine to freeze a dragon or a sea creature serpent that is supposedly had moved its head and caused like massive earthquakes. Okay, let me just give the background of it, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on if I believe this is true or not. Let me see if I can actually give y'all a much more, because this they talking about Venezuela and the reason why Trump took the president from Venezuela, which I still think that's like international law. I don't think you can do stuff like that. But you got Venezuela, you have not just the country itself, but the oil. Remember, we talked about also that the oil was taken from Venezuela to so-called for us, and that could fuel anything. That can fuel the Golden Dome. That can fuel all types of stuff, right? So let's get to another picture because I definitely want to see if this picture might be better or not for everybody to see the so-called face or head of the dragon or serpent or whatnot. Because this is a theory that has been going around the internet for the past few days. I don't know if that picture is better or not, family, but I just want to put it up there while I read exactly what the Leviathan actually is. Oh, okay. So Leviathan is described in the Bible. This is a biblical creature as a formidable, scaly, and untamed sea creature representing immense power, chaos, or evil, and is primarily featured in Job 41, which highlights God's sovereignty. It is also depicted in other scriptures as a multi-headed monster that can only be defeated by God. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the scriptures that it came from Job 41:1, Job 41:34, Psalm 74:14, Psalms 104:26, and Isaiah 27, verse 1. Okay. Sometimes the creature is interpreted as a whale, shark, or crocodile. It's a symbolic mythical monster that represents chaos, evil forces opposed to God. And some interpretations, it's a symbol of pride or a spirit of confusion. All right. So family, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts. I really don't know if this is true. I do know about the heart machine. That you can Google and find out if our atmosphere is ever manipulated by machinery. I can say that much, but I cannot say what I don't know, and what I cannot say is if it's because a creature is in the sea or in the ocean. That is what I cannot say, if that's factual or not. There are creatures that have roamed this earth longer than us. There are creatures that have been in this realm, of course, that the Bible talks about, even without the Bible, just with ancient lore of Egyptian mythology, or not just even Egyptian mythology, but also Norse mythology, also Greek mythology. So there's just so much information that is out there. I really wanted to hear Israel's thoughts on. I want to hear Israel's thoughts on, well, if you believe that the creature was real or not. I'm going to say for right now, I don't know, family, and that's okay. You can say it's okay to not know. So for right now, family, I do not know where I want to swing when it comes to the whole Leviathan creature. But it does, if you look at the map, it does look like a big frozen something. That's what it looks like. But of course, it also looks like if you do a map of the United States, it looks like a chef holding a plate of a chicken wing on a plate when it comes to the state's outline. So things look like a lot of different things. That don't mean that it's what it is. You feel me, family? Okay. Those were basically all of the topics that we have for today's episode. But I also have, guess what, family? We gotta ask the Pharaohs question. All right. And this question comes from Anonymous, because she said she didn't want her name to be mentioned. So this question says, for the Pharaohs, should you fire a coworker for drinking on the job and was handing it out to customers? Now, I'm gonna say my answer to this because it was funny. One of the people that watched the show, well, now watches the show, I hope she sees this episode and she recognizes her question. But I'm gonna say yes. You definitely fire the coworker, the employee, the whoever, if they're at work and they're handing out shots of liquor. What? Who raised you? Who raised you? Who told you that it was okay to go to work and at your job while you're at work, you pass out alcohol? First of all, you drinking yourself. Once I smell liquor on somebody, I'm gonna just send you home. I've been a manager before. I've been a boss before. Once I smell alcohol on your breath, I'm going to send you home. That's all the probable cause I need to let me know that you are in a drunken state or tipsy or whatever word you want to use for you to go home. And then on top of you drinking yourself, you passed it out to somebody else. That's crazy work. That's wild work. That's insane work. You came to work to have a party. You ain't come to work, which is understandable. A lot of people don't go to work. So, Anonymous, my answer is you definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, fire that person for drinking on the job. Okay? They get up out of there quick and in a hurry. Bye-bye. See you later. Go find you another job. I don't know who's going to hire you after they call back and say, yeah, this person was fired because of drinking on the job. And then passing it to somebody else. You passing out drinks to customers, they gonna think they not at work. This is not even a regular store. This is like a clothing store. They gonna think they at the club. Oh snap, we at the club. Now it might be a good marketing strategy though. I ain't gonna hold you. It might be a good marketing strategy for you to like, for you to be like, come back for more if you want to get a new. Come get this new sale of clothes, these new pants, these new, sweaters and shirts and all that stuff. Come check us out and then get a shot of Douce or get a shot of tequila, get a shot of, You know what I'm saying? That it could be like that, but that's just me playing devil's advocate. I am here by myself, family. I have to give all perspectives and thoughts, but for my answer, of course, anonymous is yeah, that person has to go. You definitely need to fire that person. All right, family. I'm trying to figure out did we have anything else for today? And I think we do. I just gotta probably cue it up. I think we do. I'm not gonna lie. At some point in time in my life, okay, we're gonna stop right here. We definitely got some other stuff, but I'm gonna save it for when Israel comes back. Family, like I say, he's not with us today because of a quick emergency, last minute emergency. And I'm going to bow out and wait for him next week. But anyway, family, thank you for joining me, of course, for episode 72 of the Pharaohs Podcast. I'm your host, Solomon, and you can find me. Guess where you can find me at? I'm on Facebook at Solomon Walker. You can find me on Instagram at CJWalker103. And if you want to get your book published, family, guess what? You can just email me. I'm going to definitely help you get your book published at cwalker1582@gmail.com. Guess where else you can find me, family? The Pharaohs Podcast at gmail.com. I mean, you can always email us. We're going to always have the Ask the Pharaohs question. If you want to give us a question, if you want to be anonymous, just let me know before I even get or pick your question and read it out loud that you want to be anonymous. But we have different questions all of the time that range from anything to anywhere. Okay. You can find Israel at johnatl621@gmail.com. You can also email him as well. And also find him at the Pharaohs Podcast@gmail.com. And guess what, family? Hey, if you can't come and join us on a Monday, every Tuesday, we on Spotify. We on Spotify every Tuesday. So holler at us if you want to talk to us. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. If you like something that you want to be said and told on the podcast, always reach out to us because guess what? We gonna read it. We gonna talk about it. We love to talk to our audience. And I have is it disrespectful? But we're gonna save it for next week. All right, family. Peace.